Hey, everybody, and welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. This week, we catching up on all the news the new year has been bringing. We'll also find out what made Peyton say,
and then I will be off into the workforce. I look at this number and I think, holy crap.
And why Grantis said,
that is a great representation of the marching arts. It is not, what the drum corps activities do.
All this and more on this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Hey everyone, we're back for another exciting episode this week, and we are so excited for our guest clinicians this week as we talk about all the news you and your friends are talking about. Hey Peyton.
Hi there.
Girl, how about that Wicked episode?
That was so much fun. I loved doing that.
Oh my God, I had so much fun. I was still glowing days after that. I shared that episode.
We just yapped.
We yapped, and we yapped about theater stuff, which really makes me happy. And it was just happened to be one of my favorite musicals. So, so glad. How many more times have you seen the movie?
I think I saw it with my sister again. However, it is coming out, so now we won't have to go to the theater.
Oh, it's out, girl. I just have not had time to sit down and watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then I'm just not ahead of the times.
You're going to work on that. You can do
yes,
that.
I know
it. Grantis, this is your first time as a host on the podcast.
Yes, it is. Thank
How
you so
are
much.
you, friend?
I'm doing all right. It's a little cold here in California, but not too bad in other parts of the country, so I can't really complain.
I live in Florida, and it's cold here too, so I think the entire country is in this polar vortex right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So wear an extra coat.
Yeah, I've been scarfing it up, which is nice because I don't typically get to wear all of my beautiful winter wear, but right now I am, so I'm going to be real cute for the next couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that our audience may have seen you in different parts of social media and your fun reviews of different marching arts products. You've also been traveling the world, but we probably should do your 32 count life story so the listeners can get to know our new host. You already know how this works. We'll give you 8 counts off the mat. You have 32 counts to tell your life from birth up until today. You ready?
All righty. Here we go. Hi, my name is Grantis. I'm originally from California, born in San Jose, but grew up in Santa Cruz. I moved around quite a bit. I went to school on the East Coast, majored in health policy and minored in dance. I did WGI, drum corps for quite a while, marched Blessed Sacrament, Onyx, Vanguard, Winter Guard, and View. And then I instructed, and now I judge. I was traveling, so I also got to judge in different countries and do some clinics. Right now, I'm just finding out my next thing, and I love to keep in contact with all marching arts.
That's awesome. So as you were listing off all of your color guards that you marched, is there a world-class color guard that you did not march?
I wish I marched a machi, but that's that's kind of out there, but
yeah. We all wish that we marched a machi. Peyton, I know that you know our next guest quite well, so I'm going to give you the privilege and honor of introducing your amazing friend to the rest of the world.
So for context, I need to shamelessly plug the organization that has given me so much within my life, which is Silent Command. And I teach lessons for there because I was once a student as well. And so one day I was at CVS Pharmacy, my lovely place of employment, and I got this little notification on my phone that was like, Yash has scheduled a lesson. I'm like, who's Yash? Later, as I would come to figure out, Yash is one of my former students, and he is an incredible learner and student, and he's a freaking sponge of a human, and also just an incredible human all around. He's a freshman at UGA, and he's also going to be marching his rookie season of drum corps, which I'm very excited for. However, he can definitely tell you a lot more than I can. How about it, Yash?
Let's do
So
it.
you saw how the 32 count life story works,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Whenever you're ready, bud.
All right, let's do it. So, hey everybody, my name is Yash Mahadkar. I'm from Marietta, Georgia. I started my music career with Indian classical music when I was 7 years old with an instrument called the tabla. It's basically 2 hand drums. And from there, I started Western music on the clarinet in 5th grade. And over the next 4 years in the private school that I was at, we didn't really get a ton of instruction on music. So when I got to high school, it was like, okay, I'm playing a huge game of catch up. But then I went to high school, became drum major. Now I'm at the University of Georgia. I'm a freshman studying music ed in the Redcoats and will be a conductor for the Santa Clara Vanguard.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Holy cow, that is amazing. So tell me, what are some of the differences? Because you started with Eastern music and then you transitioned into Western music. How are those things? Are they different? Are there similarities?
Yeah, it's a totally different world. I mean, the biggest difference is the tonal system, which is one of the big reasons you see very few successful attempts at mixing the 2 styles. Just because there's like Indian classical music uses so many like microtones, quarter tones, whatever you want to call them, and the system of teaching is also totally different. We don't have so the tabla is one of the only tonal drums out there. So there's 2 drums and you can make so many different sounds and pitches, but we don't use notes, we don't use a staff. It's all verbal. It's all words. For example, da din din da, which is the start to one of our rhythm cycles, as you could call it. But yeah, we don't use notes or systems like that in this instrument. Like my notebooks are just filled with words and chicken scratch.
Love it. See, I feel like I just got a valuable, worthwhile music theory lesson that better than what I did for the degree that I'm still paying for. So thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, since our clinicians are a part of the very news we are here to talk about, let's jump in. Peyton, why don't you start?
Alright, so the Sugar Bowl was delayed a day due to a terrorist activity in New Orleans. Both Notre Dame and Georgia Band members endured significant schedule changes and restrictions on their free time activities as a result. While we don't need to get into any of the bad stuff that actually happened, we wanted to talk about how you handled it all and what you did when you were stuck in that hotel.
Yeah, so honestly, it was, all things considered, it was a lot better of a day than all of us were expecting. Most of us woke up to frantic calls or texts from our friends and family of, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And we're just groggy waking up, like, have no idea what's happening. But we honestly, us nor the admin kind of knew what was going to happen that day. So we kind of just kept with the schedule as planned to eat breakfast, go to rehearsal, and all that. So as we were eating breakfast, they kind of gave us a heads up of, we can't go anywhere. The university has put a shelter in place on the band, the cheerleaders, and the football team. We were all staying in the same hotel, so we weren't allowed to leave until the football players were given the okay and they headed out first. So it was what we like to call a huge game of hurry up and wait, where we're just kind of waiting there till we get, the next instruction. So we, passing the time, eating breakfast, and then everybody kind of went up back to their rooms just to kill some time, take a nap. We're marching band kids. Most of us aren't early risers. But yeah, so they ended up feeding us a lunch in the hotel, and we hung out there for a few hours. And then around 3 o'clock, they said, it's safe to go outside. We're not going to have rehearsal. The game's postponed at this point. So, you're free to walk around town for a few hours. So me and a few buddies explored a new part of the city, kind of walked along the coast and, discovered new areas. And then around 7 o'clock, they called us back. We had dinner. We watched the epic football games with Texas and Arizona, and then with Ohio State and Oregon. So those were some pretty fun games to be screaming at the TV in the hotel about. But other than that, yeah, just playing cards, taking naps, killing the time.
Hey Yash, have during our lessons, did I ever tell you any stories about lightning protocol?
I vaguely remember one.
So for context, for those of you who don't know what lightning protocol is, if you are in rehearsal and lightning strikes and you have to go under the stadium and kind of just hang out until you're out of the area of lightning during rehearsal, you essentially experienced an inverse lightning protocol, my guy. You're more than prepared for your upcoming rookie season. You're gonna be golden.
Okay, everybody, back out on the floor. We need to get Yash to get the horns ready for the next move, and Michael is going to take the prop crew and get those going. More after the break.
Celebrating its 25th anniversary, Guard Closet was founded as a consignment shop in 2000. Since then, it has grown to become your one-stop shop for the marching arts.
Do you need consignment uniforms and flags for your color guard, marching band, or drumline? We have thousands of sets of consignments in stock and ready to ship.
Do you need show design and custom choreography? Our designers have years of experience in the marching arts.
Do you need to sell your items and clear out your storage areas? We take in more than 600 sets of consignments each year and return hundreds of thousands of dollars to our consigners for their sales.
Do you need to have your students order shoes, gloves, and other equipment? We can set up a microsite for easy student ordering of a wide variety of items.
Do you need custom costumes or flags? We can help get you great designs from our team through top vendors like Show Day Designs.
Have you listened to our podcast On a Water Break? Weekly episodes and bonus content keep you entertained and informed with what's going on in the marching arts.
For over 25 years, Guard Closet has been here to help. Check us out at guardcloset.com or follow us on social media.
Our first guest was a part of the amazing 605 combined band that was a part of the recent Rose Parade, Mr. Michael Nash.
Yeah, thank you.
We are going to do a 32 count life story with you. Do you know how this works? We give you 8 off the Met. You tell us your life from birth up until today in 32 counts, and that's all you get.
Yeah, but what tempo?
I think it's like 120, but I forgot what the metronome marking was. Please forgive me.
Okay, I can do it. Go ahead.
Here we go. 8 off the Met.
Started marching in 1973, did high school, marching band director got me into it, drum corps. Ended marching in 2013, had my own drum corps for 13 years. I've been teaching since 1979, did Logan High School, did Ramona High School, did Morris School, Bellflower High School out here, then the 605 group. I do clinics and stuff, and I've been married for 40 plus years. 50 years in the activity, which is fun. So, yeah.
Wow, quite the pedigree, sir. And some very famous school names in there.
Yeah, it's been doing a lot all my life. And I'm like behind the scenes, and people are going, why haven't I seen you with the big groups? I don't know.
And 40 years of teaching in the activity?
Almost, yeah, 40, yeah.
Wow. I can't wait for the day when I say I've been teaching for 40 years. That's like a true badge of honor right there.
Yeah, but it kills you. For being a guy at my age at 66 and teaching visual, it's funny because the kids just look at me and they're going, you're what? It says, come on, let's go march. And I'll march circles around the kids and they'll just stare and blank. Okay, I like this. He's fun. So that's what I do. And it's been my life.
Well, here's a bit of philosophy for me to you. You have forgotten more information than those kids will ever be able to learn. So remember that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I can throw more stuff at them, and they just go, "What the hell are you talking about now?" So this whole 605 thing came because of Bellflower High School and Mayfair High School. They got together and wanted to do this thing 2 years ago. So they had to do a video. I said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing it. It's one of my bucket lists. Could I do it?" And they said, "Well, yeah, come and help." I said, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. Volunteer. I don't want to get paid. I don't really care. I just my bucket list was the parade." And they said, "Okay." So I showed up and we started going through all that. So that was the fun part. It was just being able to have that as my list.
What was it? What is it like being there in the parade? I mean, it's always been a dream of mine to just be in Pasadena that day, and you actually got to do it.
Well, I didn't get to march in the parade part. That's the bad part because since I was a volunteer, there's security clearance. So I got them. We had the caravan, 15 buses, escort straight from Lake Fair, Mayfair School High School, all the way to Pasadena. Unload the kids off, got them to where they're warming up, got them close to the corner where they're supposed to be going, and then took the back way and
Oh
beat the kids
wow!
an hour ahead.
So you
I
didn't
do
have
not miss that 3 a.m. wake up. That was not fun.
Yeah,
No
3 a.m.
amount of
wake
caffeine
up.
can get you through that.
I mean, the
But
adrenaline of saying you're doing something that big and that iconic. I mean,
I
I would wake
still
up
needed
for
a
that.
Celsius. I still needed my fruity little caffeinated drink.
yeah, it took me an hour and a half to walk it from where I left them to the end, and I waited for them and took pictures of them saying they made it. They made it. So that was the funnest part.
So
So,
let's talk about what the 605 band is and how did all this come together?
well, the band director at Mayfair wanted to do it as a bucket list. And so he got to the school district and said, any of the schools in the area, if they want to do it with them, because that's the only way you can do it. Because Mayfair is a small school, Bellflower is a small school. There's all small schools, but it can combine them together. 300 so plus kids. So they said, well, let's try to do it. So they put a kind of thing together, did a field thing, marched the kids together 2 years ago, shot a video, sent it to the Rose Bowl. Our Rose Parade, they approved it, and that's how it went. And then from there, just asked the kids if they want to do the event, and then paid up, you know, got it that way. And that's how they got 528 kids.
528 kids. Wow. And I'm guessing the 605 has something to do with the area code that the schools are in.
No, it's the freeway.
Okay.
So all
Okay.
the schools are kind of situated on the 605 freeway area, going from north to south. And so that's how they picked the name 605. So the iconic thing was on the Rose Parade Day, we left at 605.
You left the
That was the cool
school at
part. We left
605
the school at 6:05 a.m. to
to
head to the
drive down
parade,
to 605.
and down to 6:05 at 6:05.
So, what was the best and the most challenging things about doing this?
8 different schools, 8 different band directors, 8 different ways of teaching, and so trying to figure out everyone's nuances since I was a corps director and I had my own drum corps and done this for years. I just kind of sat back, observed them, and then figured out the best way to do it. And I said, well, I'm the marching guy. We need to teach these guys in a way because we all teach differently. Is just have them walk and have them roll straight through, roll their feet from heel to toe, roll straight through, and that's it. And they all look the same. And they just went, oh, okay. So that was the first part. Then the corner. That was the biggest challenge.
The corner always gets
How to
everybody.
do the corner.
That
So
corner still gives me nightmares.
uh,
TV corner.
I was up for a while thinking of that thing, and I've seen it all my life. So being a guy from Iowa and coming to California and being able to see the Rose Parade for the first time, and I said, I know this corner. I know how to work it. And they all gave me this look like, no, 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 you got to dress to this. You got to dress to that. And I said, no, you can't do it that way. You got to dress to the outside because you're a moving pivot. And it's a wide pivot because it's 29 degrees. And they just went, what? Yeah, it's a 29-degree curve, and it's on an angle when it straightens out. And they just gave me this look like, you're kidding me. Says, no. I mapped it out in Pieware. I did diagrams with it. I even did a chat with GPT just to see what it thinks about it. And then I had
Can I interrupt this for a minute? You see this mostly because I'm in my childhood bedroom because I'm home for break. This picture, this is how afraid she is for TV corner. There is not a look with behind those eyes that's going, oh yes, I'm so excited for this turn.
Well, what I
understand.
I can understand that because what I taught the kids was, this is all you have to do. The center guide is a center guide on that pink line. The outside is going to take the 6 to 5 step. The inside is going to take the 8 to 5 step. And the very inside person is going to take a 10 to 5. And that's what I said. And you guide to the left. And they just went, huh? Do it. It took three or four tries, but it worked. Until the lead trombone player, which was one of my techs at Bellflower, took a big step at the very beginning. And you can see it. So I called him out on it for the hell of it, just to give him a hard time. But yeah, that corner, that was my biggest nightmare.
I just want to say one thing. I want to thank you and all the other band directors or instructors that get their students to go to the Rose Parade. That was always like a dream of mine, was to be in the Rose Parade, and I wasn't in a marching band that was able to do that. Luckily, I am part of the Vanguard, so I did sign up to do it when they did it in 2017, and that was an amazing experience.
That was a great performance.
If you ever get the chance to go and experience it or just watch it and then try to watch it on TV, it's one of those like pinnacle marching band things where you're able to do the Rose Parade, we're able to do Macy's, or do one of the many other activities and our own activities. So thank you for giving those kids the opportunity to do that magnificent milestone.
Yeah, it was fun doing it. And it was just a bucket list for me, and it's like going, I don't care. I don't want to get paid for this. I just want to do this. That was more or less it.
Well, let us get into some more news with Michael as he gives us the rest of the rundown. But Peyton, you're up first with the news.
First off, I'm gonna just carry off of what Grantis said. Thank you for all of that. As someone who had the opportunity to do it last year, that is something that is permanently etched into my brain for the rest of time. Whether it was the 3 a.m. wake up, or the feeling of waving to the crowd, or the in and out afterwards. Thank you for that. Because it's something I am also very thankful for. So, going into our first news story, as an education major, I read this, and it blows my brain. I haven't even started teaching. I have 2 more semesters before I start student teaching, and then I will be off into the workforce. I look at this number and I think, holy crap! So, there is a 90-year-old band director who is finally retiring from the Charlotte Catholic School District after 70 years of teaching music education. So after nearly 70 years of empowering students, 90-year-old Stan Michalski, who is a celebrated band director, is retiring from his role at Charlotte Catholic Schools. He's known for his global career, but his love for music began in his youth and was influenced by his father and grew into a lifelong passion. After moving to Charlotte in 1993, he began volunteering, eventually building the school's music program from the ground up. He ended up actually expanding this music program into upwards of 9 schools, and he can be noted by so many different students throughout the district, as it's said that his teaching instills a passion for playing and it lasts, which I think is just super profound and something that I hope that I can instill within my students as well one day. Yash, you're a music ed major. I'm sure you can think the same.
Oh yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of great teachers, and that is just incredible that somebody has so much love for it that they stick it out for that long. I know I have some teachers.
It's gonna be you, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll see if I last that long.
I'm at a point now in my teaching career where my students are old enough to start having kids that are about to be the age of the kids that I was teaching. And I think that that's crazy. But teaching for 70 years, I mean, you're teaching 3 and 4 generations of families if you are in the same area. Like that is
Imagine your trumpet student coming up to you and being like, "Oh, you taught my grandma." That would make
right.
you old.
Okay, so the band director at Bellflower, he was the drum major when I was the core manager at Impulse. And I also taught visual. So he was one of my kids. The band director at Ramona High School in Riverside is also one of my kids. He also marched Impulse. So yeah, it's really weird to have kids that marched in, that done directors and stuff, and you see that happen. I understand. I understand where that guy goes.
Yeah. That is the true love for the activity and the passion for teaching, and that's just amazing. 70 years. Wow. Hey Peyton, I know that you have to get out of here because you have some students to go and teach. So I'm going to dismiss you from rehearsal. Yeah. You got how many, like 69 more years to go? Grantis, I believe you have another news story for us.
I sure do. So there's a Tennessee man. He was charged with a crash involving the Iowa State marching band. The crash happened in Tennessee on December 30th when the band was traveling back to Iowa from the Pop Tarts Bowl in Florida. According to the crash report, 55-year-old Cleveland Barm suddenly merged in front of the bus on the Interstate 24 near Chattanooga. Barm and 12 Iowa State students had minor injuries. No one was taken to the hospital, and Barm is charged with a failure to yield. I'm just very happy that nobody was seriously injured, because we all, don't want this to happen when we're driving on, bus trips really far.
I have been on a bus accident before traveling with a band, and let me tell you, it's not fun. It is not something like having an accident. Period is never fun, but having an accident on a bus where there's that many people, and then the logistics of trying to figure out how you're going to get back to safety or to your home. I mean, that's just a lot. So I am so thankful that everybody in the band was okay, because it could have been a lot different.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a ton of, especially in my time in drum corps, being on the bus and being afraid. There's many stories of that. But I just want to say one thing about the Pop Tarts Bowl. I don't know if anybody was able to watch it, but I did, and it was kind of cute during the. I forgot who won, but there was this Pop Tart. It was like a large Pop Tart person, like in a mascot suit, and at the end they put him into a giant toaster to be toasted. And if you're in color guard, we have the analogy of a large toaster, and I would just really wish that I might need to make one of those. I used to tell a famous toaster story to teach kids how to spin and flourish in the toaster. But now if I get a life size one, I can they can actually experience it for themselves. So that's pretty neat.
I definitely use that toaster reference all the time.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and I think it's pretty common for most of us to say that. So, I need to go back and look at this video and check it out. All right, so the next news story is on me, and the Waltrip High School from Houston received high honors at the High School Band Festival associated with the Sugar Bowl that we talked about a couple of minutes ago. But this is the same band that was told several months ago by their superintendent that they were not allowed to go to the Sugar Bowl despite months of preparations. If anyone has followed this news story before, you know that the mayor of Houston had to step in and kind of like tell the superintendent that the band should go because it was a huge honor. So he gave the marching band a police escort. So the Houston cops escorted the band all the way from Houston all the way over to New Orleans to do the Sugar Bowl. And ironically enough, the superintendent was concerned about New Orleans being a dangerous destination. And in the end, this is totally one of those moments where Alanis Morissette wrote that song about Isn't It Ironic? Because it kind of happened. I don't know. I just feel some kind of way about that. I want kids to go out and get all the opportunities, but it's really sad when, tragedy like this strikes. It's nothing you could ever prepare for. And I know the superintendent had great intentions, but I wonder if he's going, I told you so.
I can't imagine what the admin of that band was going through, because I know watching our admin at the Sugar Bowl, I mean, you could see that they were really stressed for our safety, and they had set a curfew for us. The original plan was at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, they would throw an event for us in the hotel. But when that plan fell through, they gave us a 2 a.m. curfew. So many of our students were on that same street until an hour and a half before the event.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, especially high school students is a totally different ball game, but I commend all the admin of every organization that was there for all the work they put into keeping their students safe.
100%. There's no planning, there's no preparation for something like this. It's you have to make those smart decisions as they come. And thankfully, most of all of the bands that were there were able to make those decisions. And I will report that everyone from the Waltrip High School band was safe and they did make it back, and their parents were all thankful for them. And the Houston mayor even went to the band and gave them a little bit of congratulations for it. So, Yash, you got our next story for us?
Yeah, so earlier last week on the show we all know as Jeopardy, on one of their questions, the Ohio State marching band tradition of dotting the I appeared. For those of you who don't know, the Ohio State marching band is famous for their incredible drill formations. I've seen them do the plane from Top Gun. They've done moonwalking Michael Jackson. It's really a treat to get to watch their shows. And one of their most well-known traditions is spelling Ohio on the field and having a sousaphone player run out and be the dot for the I. And I think
in cursive too, right? It's a cursive.
Yes, in cursive. They have the whole line of the marching band follow the drum major around and, spell this whole Ohio massive formation out.
All right. Grantis has a last minute announcement, so everyone in the DC area pay attention.
Yes, so this just in. Lizzie from the Commanders Marching Band has something that she wants to let everybody know. The Washington Commanders Marching Band has auditions for the 2025 season. They are holding percussion auditions from February 1st and 2nd, with the wind/brass auditions from March 8th and 9th for all the District Heights Recreation Center. This is where it will be located. More details, including audition excerpts and links to register, can be found on their website at www.commanders.com. And you can also email them at marchingband@commanders.com.
Sweet. Okay, everyone, it's time to get back onto the floor so that we can learn the last minute of the show. We'll be right back with a new segment of What Are We Doing and our Gush and Goes.
Marching by Montez is a visual design business based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but provides services to ensembles all across the country. Our services include custom drill and staging for marching bands, indoor winds, indoor percussion, and winter guards, as well as custom band and guard choreography for all 3 winter idioms and marching bands. We now offer program coordination for ensembles throughout the U.S. and custom graphic design for all of your uniform, props, flags, and floor needs. In-person and virtual program consultation options are now available through Marching by Montez, as well as custom sound design for your indoor winds backing tracks, winter guard soundtrack, and show soundscape needs. Visit us at marchingbymontez.com, contact us at joey@marchingbymontez.com, and check us out on social media at Marching by Montez.
Okay, everyone, we are back and we are starting a brand new segment called 60-Second Tech Block. This is normally where we would cue music, but because this is so new, we don't even have the music for it yet. So, pretend like it's happening right now. Anyway, this is how this works. Each week, one of our hosts or guest clinician will be forced to give a 60-second tech session with the section needing it the most after the last run. So basically, our special tech this week got to choose 3 topics that they think that they can give a 60-second nonstop speech and maybe help some people out there. So since it's your first show as a host, Grantis, you are up, my friend. Are you ready to do this?
Alrighty.
Okay.
Which one should I do, though?
So you had 3 topics that you chose from. The first one was, what does success look like? The second one was, what do you do when none of your kids are showing up? And the third one is, what changes should you make when the judges give you a bad score? Panel, thoughts? I know which one I'm leaning towards. Yash, you got one that you're thinking about?
Maybe. I think I want to hear a little bit about success.
I think so too. Nash, what about you?
You guys pick. Any one will do for me.
All right, so you know what? I'm going to go with, what does success look like? All right, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. Grantis, you got this, my friend. 6, 7, 8, go 1.
Alrighty, so what does success look like? You really have to think about the students that you're teaching. This might be the very first year that you've had, let's say, a winds program, percussion, or a winter guard. Let's do the winter season for now. And you got to make them love the activity. That's going to be successful, that they love what they're doing on the floor. And then maybe the next year, maybe you're actually going to be competitive because you stopped doing like a festival performance and you got to get them like wanting to win, wanting to be competitive. And that's going to be successful, even if they don't win, but they want to have that achievement. But then the following years and years after that, like, do they have a presence on the school campus? Do the parents actually help out? Do the parents and family members know what color guard is? Do the students actually, want to be there? Are they actually getting clean? Are they being successful? Do they win a regional? It's slow steps into the process.
And you did it, sir. Okay, so obviously you have thought about this a lot because that was a fantastic 60-second tech block.
Oh, thank you.
I took the part about making the students enjoy what they're doing, and that is my entire teaching style. So I feel you on that.
Oh yes, that's one of the first things I had a conversation with, because I march scouts and I have a nail from that, and he told me, I talked to him, and he was just like, well, they're brand new. It sounds like they just need to love it. Don't worry about the competitive side as much. They just need to love, because they have no idea. You're teaching them everything from how to strip a flag to the warm-up exercises. It just needs to be fun the very first season. So, and sometimes that's just what it needs to be, and that's success.
That is success. Well, you did that, but it is time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Okay, listeners, you already know this segment, and all of our hosts know this segment. So we're going to just dive right on in and ask, what are we doing? Grantis, what are we doing?
What are we doing not giving our kids water? You got to give them water every 15 or 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. I'm sure you have a bunch of things to say in rehearsal, but if you feel tired, take that as a cue to like, oh, maybe I should go give my kids some water. If you've been talking a lot and your mouth is dry, go get some water. Like if you're frustrated with them, go get some water. Go get some water.
Okay, so I'm totally guilty of this, and this is a fun little story from last night. So last night I was teaching the ensemble flag phrase, and I kept trying to get this moment to happen and looking at it. And now, mind you, it was 40 degrees, and we were rehearsing outside in Florida, so it wasn't like it was hot. But I think I had gone about 25 minutes, and I didn't give the kids a water break. And I was telling the kids to reset. And one of the girls looked at me and said, "Girl, ain't your throat dry?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Ain't your throat dry? Because I know you thirsty, because we are." And I looked at my watch and I felt terrible. Terrible. Like, I know, I'm pretty sure everybody in this room right
As
now
we
can
get in
tell
the
you, like, you
zone.
get in those moments where you start, like, you're in that grind and you're going for it and you completely forget about it because it wasn't hot outside, but I was just standing there counting and clapping and screaming. I was not running around the floor because they literally run for that whole section of the show, and the poor babies, I felt so bad.
One of the great things that my directors in high school did is there was always somebody on the field that he had assigned to give us the water break. So it was a good reminder for them to keep them like in time with the water, and it gave, I guess, the kids a little sense of, ooh, I'm important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cool. I somewhere did it, and I can't remember, but the word was avocado. And every time a kid would get thirsty, they would just go avocado, and then it would be the cue for the staff to like give them a water break. So, we got to do better, instructors. We got to make sure everybody's hydrated. I mean, we can't have people falling out. Even though it's winter time outside, we still got to drink our water and listen to On a Water Break while you're doing it.
That's what you have the phone for. Put it on the timer. That's what I do.
Exactly. That 10-minute timer over and over again. I got to make sure I do that. I'll do that tomorrow at rehearsal. I'll be better, I promise. Yash, what are we doing?
Well, actually, I had an interesting conversation with one of my former teachers. They were talking about how in like classical marching style drum corps, we always perform to the front. You know, the audience is just that front section. The rest of the stadium is empty. But if you've heard of something called the Battle of the Bands, it's this huge competition of HBCU style bands where they perform to the whole stadium. It's jam packed. The audience is on their feet. So an interesting question that came up is, do we think traditional marching bands and drum corps will ever, migrate to that style of performing to the whole stadium and maybe even bringing a different kind of audience in to pack that whole stadium up?
So essentially, what are we doing? Only performing to one side of the stadium.
Yeah.
That's valid, friend. That
I
is
agree.
valid. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the HBCU style of marching. I grew up in Mississippi, so on Saturdays, my grandfather would take me to the Jackson State University games. And shout out to them because they were just in the Sonic Boom in the South was in the Rose Bowl parade the other day, and they were fantastic. But I mean, there's such a level of energy, and you're right. I mean, those stadiums are packed out, and everybody paid the same amount of money for a seat. So they're turning around, they're giving one side a show, they're giving the other side a show. I think everybody needs to adopt that.
It's really nice how they do on that whole event thing. It's fun to watch. It is fun to watch. Different style for me, but it is a fun to watch.
Yeah. They do the whole, like, they do the march in and all that stuff too, right? Which is a whole nother production in itself. It's like you get a production with them marching into the stadium, then you get a production, whatever seat you're sitting in the stadium. I mean, them, They do it
There's
right. They do it
production
right.
even from the buses getting into the stadium. Have you ever seen
Okay.
those videos? They're
Really?
You
lining up. Oh yeah, they're just lining up and they're doing a whole parade with everyone getting
Wow.
into the stadium, and then into the stadium doing the whole parade thing.
and the videos I've seen, the fans are in the parking lot watching them get off the bus and come in. I mean, whew, I love it. I love it. Nash, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
depends if you want to march the right way, want to see what you're doing, want to be able to walk. Now, the whole problem is a lot of the kids come to rehearsal, they don't stretch, they don't get themselves ready. Just like me, I'm 66 years old. I do a lot of stretching even before I even march or even before I walk. So, these kids, they just need to get more physically ready. So I get my kids at Bellflower going through PT training, do a lap, and then I put them through a whole cardio exercise. So the thing is, get these kids ready for the summer, get them ready for the winter. That training, get them all loose and ready. That's the best thing to do for them.
So I guess it's my turn, and I am going to say, what are we doing trying to be WGI clean the first week of January?
That ain't gonna happen.
I, I, I have been teaching for a long time, and I know better. I know this, and I know that it's not going to happen. But for some reason, in my mind, I look at something, and it's the first week of January, and I'm like, why is this not clean already? Mind you, the kids were just on a 2-week break, and then I just taught the phrase 15 minutes before this moment of thinking that. But I got to check myself and do better on that end.
Yeah, that happens a lot. You get that expectation in your things. That's gonna be perfect, but gotta sit back and relax and let the flow.
Yeah, because the truth of the matter is, it's not even going to be perfect at the end of the season. We can always fix something.
That's definitely something I've seen. Is I'm a freshman music education student, so I've just started like conducting and rehearsing my own ensembles. So when you practice to a recording, in high school for our final concert, I conducted a piece by Granger, and I had just practiced to a Marine Band recording over and over again. And then as soon as I gave the first phrase, I was like, "That doesn't sound like the recording did. What's wrong?"
That was not going to work for you, friend. I'm sorry. You started at the top, and no, that wasn't going to happen.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Touch and go.
More water.
Yeah, more water. All right, guys, it is time for our gush and goes. What is everybody gushing and going about right now? Grantis, tell us what's going on.
I don't know if this has already been gushed about in a recent episode, but Beyonce's bowl, her performance. Like, come on, that's exactly like. If you haven't seen it, you really need to go watch it because that is a great representation of the marching arts. It is not, what the drum corps activities do. It is not what a lot of I would say current marching band competitive BOA, WBA marching bands do. But it is very relevant because it's pop culture.
I'm going to
Say that
pause you
again.
right there and say that everybody needs to pay attention to what she's doing because she is teaching us how to entertain. That was
There you
a
go.
textbook lesson in entertainment from the start to the finish. Costuming, set design, performance skills, the drill with the band, all those dancers. I mean, it was just masterful from top to bottom. I've watched it 3 times already.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about drill and staging, the coordination of the marching band, maybe they weren't doing so much intricate drill, but the way they weaved in everybody that was participating in the performance. I want to know who did that. They did a fantastic job. Yeah, just everything about the performance. Again, if you're listening and you haven't seen it, go take the time. I watched it on YouTube. Go find it, and it's there, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's fantastic. Every second of it. Like I said, I've watched it 3 times, and I'm probably gonna go watch it again after we get done recording this.
And let me just gush about one more thing. If anybody wants to contact me for any consulting during winter season or even judging, I'm actually judging a little bit more outside my local area, going to different states. They can reach me, look at my website, grantismoproductions.com, or you can look at my YouTube. I have a lot of videos up there that might be educational and helpful to your group.
Yash, what are you gushing and going about, my friend?
Well, I really the big thing going on in my life right now is I'm really excited to start my rookie season of drum corps with the Vanguard. It's been a huge dream for me. One of my biggest mentors is a big time judge for drum corps, so he's really gotten me into the game, and the process is taking to get here, especially with all the help Peyton's given me over the past 4 or 5 months. It's been a great journey, and I'm excited to get started.
Dude, I can't wait to see you on the field this summer. I'll be in California part of the summer with the drum corps, so with the academy.
Awesome.
So hopefully I'll get to run into you and warm up or something somewhere.
Yeah, I'll yell for you right before you again, make you a little bit more nervous, but we're all there to support you, so I can't wait to see you as well.
Thank you.
All right, Michael Nash, what are you gushing and going about right now?
Well, I'm revamping my website, marchingforyou.com, getting that ready for the props and consignment business for field props and floors with guard closet. Hopefully get that going up and running real soon. And just this is my vacation time. I have no bands to work with, no teaching. I'm just doing consulting for Iraqi winter drumline because they're going world class. So they asked for some technical help on background nonprofit stuff. And I'm also doing some background work with Vessel.
You said that this was your vacation and relaxation time, but it sounds to me like you got a whole schedule full of stuff, friend.
It's no marching. That's the whole thing. I have no marching.
No marching. I love that. Well, listeners, I am gushing right now because after living in Florida for 15 years and being asked from every band director friend that I know and every color guard vendor and everything else, if I was going to be at the Florida Music Educators Association conference, I am finally getting to go as part of my job.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I'm going to get to spend the next couple of days with some of the best music educators in the state of Florida, listening to some wonderful topics of discussion. I get to sit in with the rest of the music supervisors for the rest of the state and get to know all of those people. And I get to see some really cool vendors, some of them whom I'm friends with since I've been in the activity since Jesus was a baby. And there will possibly be a little bit of on a water break pop-ups happening throughout FMEA over the next couple of days. So we'll see how that goes.
So Ricardo, will you be on a water break for FMEA? Maybe
I will be on a water break from FMEA.
Hey, it's called Gush and Go, not Gush and Stay. Let's go.
Thanks everyone for a great rehearsal this week, and what a way to kick off season 3 of On a Water Break. There are so many things planned this season, and we cannot wait to share everything with you. Thank you to our host this week, Peyton and Grantis, and thank you to our guest, Yash. Where can our people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at _YSHYSH, a little joke from high school. And you can also find me on Facebook.
And Michael Nash, what about you? How can we find you on socials?
The quickest way is just to go to www.marchingforyou.com. All my social links are at the bottom, and it's quick.
Awesome. All right, one more thing. Don't forget that we have our YouTube channel now that has many of our interviews as full video editions. Go and subscribe so you don't miss those. Word is, people are reaching out to us to talk about things on the podcast, and we love it. Email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media and DM us. We love having people on the podcast, and hey, Just take out your phone, make a video, and send it to us, and maybe you'll see yourself on the podcast soon. So before you close out of your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share this with a friend. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break, and we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Ream. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.